We're here at HeyUGuys HQ. I'm joined today with my mascot, Dobby, and Cassam Looch, of course. We're going to be casting our eye over the superhero genre and the future of the superhero genre. I think it's fair to say that after X-Men Apocalypse, there was a slight feeling of we've been here before with this movie. I felt that, obviously, not just the fact that it eclipses kind of 2 hours, but it got quite tedious in parts. It followed this kind of rigid formula that obviously Deadpool ridiculed to an extent where I'm not sure how much further we can go back. Do you think there's an awful lot of future in the superhero genre? I mean, that they make tons of money, so they're going to carry on being made, but how much longer into audiences have just got a little bit bored with the whole kind of quite formulaic, quite traditional narrative structure of these movies?
Well, they've got the next 10 years penciled in for superhero films, so we can get ready for more of the Marvel characters that we've seen from the MCU, X-Men. Thing with that is, especially with the X-Men films and the Fantastic Four one from last year, which was pretty bad, is if they don't keep making it, the rights return back to Marvel and Disney, so they're just going to keep on churning them out. I think they have to make one every 6 years, so we're going to get another Fantastic Four just so that they can keep the rights. We're going to get another Spider-Man Homecoming just so that they can keep the rights over at Sony, although there's a bit of a crossover there. Yeah, I mean, I love superhero films, especially, well, obviously the good ones, but not so much the bad ones. But it just does feel like there's too many at the moment. It's May, and we've already had 4 this year. 2 of them weren't very good at all. Deadpool was the standout, but I think that's because it just didn't feel like a superhero film. It just felt like something completely different. And if we can have more of that, then I'd probably be interested. But I just don't think they're going to make films like that. So yeah.
I don't want the superhero genre to go away. I just want less of them. I like superhero movies. I get really kind of gripped and engaged with the whole kind of concept, the whole idea, and the characters who we kind of know and love from my favourite comic books and the movies. But at the same time, I don't want to see 4 before June. I want to see. I think they'd be more special if there was 1 or 2 a year, and you could really build up to it. But I guess with the money they make, it's almost inevitable. There's going to be so many of them made.
Yeah, victims of their own success. But you know, you can go back to the last boom, which ended with Batman and Robin. So it's probably going to need something that bad.
We need another Batman and Robin just to say, right, we're done.
I mean, Batman vs Superman was bad, but it wasn't that bad. It had some moments in it. And again, the other problem with Batman vs Superman is they put in so much for future films, which is the Justice League spin-off, the characters that are going to come from that, and then the Batman solo film, which has now been announced, that it kind of had to succeed. Even if it doesn't succeed, it has to succeed. So they're going to pick out all the good bits from it and keep that franchise going. Which is why they're going to be around for a while, unfortunately. Yeah,
I felt if Fantastic Four wasn't enough to kill the genre, then nothing will be enough to kill this genre. But I don't want it to be killed. I really enjoy it. And what I do look forward to when it comes to superhero movies in the future are the new ones. So I was looking forward to Ant-Man because it was a new character. I'm looking forward to the Black Panther movie. I'm looking forward to Doctor Strange. It's the sequels, the third movies in trilogies that I'm just getting a little bit bored by. And I feel like they're almost all trying to outdo each other now. There's this point where they think, what else can we do? So they're putting all of them in the same movies. I think that obviously Civil War worked really well, but I actually found X-Men Apocalypse with the kind of the quite messy kind of structure, the timeline. They're almost trying that in a bid to try and be different and not be kind of formulaic. They've almost gone too far the other direction. They're actually a bit. There's no linearity to the movies.
Yeah, Days of Future Past, the previous X-Men film, what they did was like, all right, we're going back in time and we're going to reboot it, so everything's going to be different. And yet, by the time this film comes around, everything is kind of the same. So you get characters coming in from the previous films doing pretty much what they've done in the earlier films, and you're kind of like, well, you've rebooted it, but you haven't.
Yeah, and I also found that Guardians of the Galaxy is still probably my favourite Marvel movie. And I just think when it comes to having an ensemble superhero film, that showed how it can be done. I think Civil War did do well. The Avengers was obviously great. But I find that, generally speaking, I like an origin tale. I'm always a fan of the first story. I liked Paul Rudd playing Ant-Man before he became Ant-Man and how he becomes Ant-Man. I find that side interesting. But what I don't want to see origin stories remade again. I mean, the recent the Amazing Spider-Man trilogy. I mean, was there anything more pointless than that? And I quite enjoyed them as well.
Featuring Coldplay as well, which is not a good start. And yeah, and obviously they're rebooting it again, but this time to try and include all the Avengers storylines as well, which is going back to what you say. They're kind of forcing this idea that you have to watch all of them, you have to be invested in them. And then that's not even talking about the TV series as well, which are ongoing. So Daredevil, Jessica Jones, the whole Defenders spin-off that's happening. I can't even keep up with the DC ones, even though they're the better ones. The Flash and Supergirl and Arrow they're all good in their own right, but it's kind of like crossing over. It doesn't really work. It just feels like, and like we're saying that we are fans of the genre up to a point, but if we're reaching that limit, I do wonder how far audiences are going to accept it.
Yeah, I do fear that I say a fear. They're going to carry on making money. They're going to carry on being made. I do fear that I'm just going to get quite bored of them quite soon. But at the same time, every now and again, they just do surprise you. I mean, Deadpool. I mean, that was this year. That's part of this kind of new phase, I guess. I mean, what they call it. Well, in the MCU, there's Phase 3 that's kind of ongoing. That's not really part of that. But it's still following on from so many films that follow this same formula. And it's still one of the best made yet, isn't it? I mean, they can still surprise you, this genre.
Not being familiar with the comics, though, I don't know if there are many characters like Deadpool in comic books. So is that just a one-off that you can play around with things in that particular film? But I can't imagine Batman suddenly turning to camera and cracking wise all of a sudden, you know, especially not as Ben Affleck or Christian Bale. But I mean, Batman Begins is my favourite film. It's an origin story, like you say. It feels like the start of something. It felt like in that film that they were thinking about the trilogy as a whole as well, which is the other problem I have. They make one film, and then in the sequel, they suddenly introduce this big character as the villain or this big supporting character. And you're like, there's no kind of semblance of that character in the first film. And so it doesn't feel like they're thinking about the thing as a whole. Maybe the MCU is doing that with their crossover films. But yeah, and they change directors as well. Like the Nolan Batman films are the Nolan Batman films. With these ones, you have a different director on Thor 2 as opposed to Thor 1, which is why the tone felt completely different and it didn't work. Yeah. I am reaching that point, to be honest with you. I think I might have reached that point. Unless there's some amazing casting. Like, isn't Stephen Merchant in the new Wolverine film?
I hope so.
Yeah, he is. I believe he is. Him and Richard E. Grant, I believe, are in... This is true. They're both
Game of Thrones, Richard E. Grant.
Yeah, exactly. Famous for Game of Thrones now. Yeah. Richard E. Grant, they're going to be in the Wolverine film, which, you know, that is something slightly different.
Yeah.
That could work.
No, I think that... I mean, I say this. I always say, do you know what? I'm getting quite bored of them. And then I go and see one and I really enjoy it. And I think, actually, I'm okay. I can do this more. But no, I think I'm looking forward to Doctor Strange. I've got to be honest. I think that's going to be really good. I'm looking forward to seeing what Wonder Woman's going to be like. I think Black Panther, I mean, Ryan Coogler's on board to direct. And I anticipate his next movie so much that he could literally be making anything.
Are you not slightly disappointed that it's a superhero film, though? So he's gone from Fruitvale Station to Creed, and now he's doing a superhero film.
But then, after Fruitvale Station, you could have been slightly disappointed he was doing a Rocky film.
Sure.
And look what he did with that. I mean, I think if he manages to humanise these characters in the same way and breathe new life into a franchise while affectionately kind of still living up to the kind of traditions of it, I think it could be a really special... That's the one I'm most looking forward to, I think, is Black Panther. But it's just John Boyega was rumoured recently to be involved, and sadly he's not going to be in it. But there's still a great cast.
Michael B.
Jordan's going to be in it, so that's really good. No, there's still a lot to look forward to, but I think it is fair to say that our patience is running slightly thin, and I feel that we do need something new now, don't we? We can't just go over old ground. I think I wouldn't be too fussed if there wasn't another X-Men movie. I have to say.
Okay, I'm in the same camp. I think the X-Men films are done. Yeah, we just need new characters, basically. If you're going to keep it going, put in the new characters. Maybe occasionally do the big crossover films, like another Avengers film when they all come together is fine. But you've got to have the origin stories, but then not too many of them. So, yeah, I'm kind of indifferent now. There's going to be another Batman film as well, spin-off with Ben Affleck. Yeah. Is that going to be an origin story?
The Justice League as well.
Yeah, it's too much.
We're really enthusiastic about the future of the superhero genre.
We do love superhero films,
guys.
Honestly. Yeah, we're big fans, but we're fans of the good ones.
Yeah. Most of our hits on our website come from links to our superhero coverage.
Yeah. Stephen Amell interviews and all that.
We're all pro superheroes over here. No, but we love these movies. They're the big centerpiece films centerpiece films every year. But there's such thing as too much. But Marvel, if you carry on making films as well as you have been recently, then I don't think many of us are complaining. Please let us know what you think about the superhero genre. I'm sure there's going to be an overwhelming disagreement with us, but we're kind of expecting that. Let us know by leaving comments and subscribe to the channel right here.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey!